Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of the Couch Potato Podcast. I am Ben, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Josh. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, Ben. How are you?
I'm pretty hot, I'm not going to lie, but that's what you get for recording in an office and being on a main road, so you have to have the windows shut. So there you go.
That's really sad. I'm so sad for you.
Thanks, man. The worst part is I had a fan on. It was glorious, but obviously
you have a fan?
One. I've got one. I don't know. Last week, you remember there was somebody who commented a very nice little comment about me. I'm just
one person made a comment about you.
It only takes one person, Josh.
Oh, that's kind of cute. I can imagine you're the type of guy, Ben, that like it just takes one person to say something nice and you're like happy for a good day or so.
Honestly, you may joke. That is true. That is actually one of the reasons why the idyllic dream
it's
for
kind
me
of pathetic
is to live in LA because everyone is so happy.
Kind of pathetic. Yeah.
No, not at all. I'm a big fan of positivity and spreading good vibes. I know you're not. You're the most cynical person I know. You pretty much offend me on a daily basis, but it's fine. You do you. It's all good. Anyway, what have you been up to this week? You good? Everything?
I wish I could do me. I've been up to a lot of non-recording. Jelly screwed us hard this week.
He really did. Oh, Jelly.
Jelly's moved into a new office, so we were supposed to have a solid week of recording, and he decided the morning of our recording at the beginning of the week to tell us that his office isn't ready.
Ouch.
So that was ouch potato indeed, Ben. So that was pretty much a kick in the teeth right there.
What Jelly probably doesn't realise, he probably thinks it's fine. We'll just reschedule. He doesn't realise there's a whole chain of people involved in this process that completely screws over. Thanks, Jelly.
All right, we don't need to hear your sob story, Ben. Okay.
Man, I need to vent because I get so tense from you all week round. This is my only chance to vent to the people. So.
Can you not vent to your girlfriend?
No, because she's in the same boat as me. We do the same job, so she's equally as stressed as I am, and she needs.
So do you not think you can vent to your girlfriend?
Well, we do vent to each other, which is going to be tricky next time we come stay with you because we can't vent too loudly because you might hear us.
See, this is my question, right? With venting,
sure.
Do you when you vent, do you want the person you're venting to try and help solve it, or do you just want them to be like, yeah, that sucks?
That's a good. I think for me personally,
see, I've always wondered this with venting. Is it like, do you, when you vent, do you just want to get something off your chest, or do you actually want to get something done? Because when I'm with Alyssa, whenever she's vented about something, and I mean, I don't know, it changes, but maybe a few of the times where she's like vented to me, and I've like tried to like help, it doesn't always like help. Sometimes the best things I've done is just go, yeah, that sucks.
I can tell you why. It's because the majority of people you'll vent to, and they'll be like, yeah, oh, that sucks. Like, oh, I know what you mean. They're terrible. Whereas you're very, I don't know what the word is. You might have Asperger's. I don't know, but you're very...
Oh, thanks, Ben.
No offense or anything.
It's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Well, I've wondered if you're on the spectrum for a while. But, you're very like... Well, no, that doesn't suck. This is why it's like this. And you won't... everyone, whenever they vent, they want someone to agree with them at first. Then they can always offer, some sort of explanation of why it should... And then you go, oh, yeah, I suppose you're right. But you would never first reassure that. You're very against reassuring people. You like to be cold. So that's probably why she doesn't like it.
It's funny. I heard... Now, I agree with you. Like, I'm not very good at, like, complaining. I don't often just, like, complain to people. And that's why I've noticed people don't often complain to me, because I usually just, like, explain why it's done. But I heard a really interesting quote, actually, today, which was, if there was no assholes in the world, then shit would never get done.
I like that. That's funny. It's true.
I thought that was quite good. I mean, it's at the end of this. I mean, if everyone just complained about anything and didn't do anything, or didn't tell people that you have to just sort yourself out, then, nothing would get done. That's the truth of it.
That is actually, I've always said, like, the best businessmen are complete arseholes. And I think that is kind of the same kind of thing you're trying to get across. It is very true.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're only an asshole to, like, the other assholes, then I say that was pretty fine.
That's true.
Like, I think I'm nice enough to, like, non-assholes.
I know you're trying to imply that I'm an arsehole, but I'm as if anyone has met me, which they probably haven't because I don't leave the office, but if anyone has met me, they'll know that I'm pretty much a standard guy.
Ben, you would not leave the office if you didn't work for me. Yeah. So, like,
yeah, I'll give you that. I'll tell you what,
let's be honest.
Do you know why? Because I left the office this week briefly, right? And do you want to know what almost happened?
Did you nearly shit yourself?
Almost, but there wasn't a bed around. No, I went down the road And this is, I think it was like...
I like the way that you say that to me. It's like, I went down the road.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to set the scene.
It's just hilarious that it's a big deal that you got down the road.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, but bear in mind, it was 11:30 at night. So, you shouldn't be venturing out into those mean streets after 9 max.
Especially where you live.
It was a late night editing sesh, so I was like, right, I'm going to pop to Tesco. So, for anyone in the US, Tesco is just like a little store. So I went down the road.
It's kind of like a pharmacy, like a CVS type thing, but without, it doesn't really have any medicine stuff. It's like a corner shop type thing. Convenience store.
Exactly. I should also point out that where we live, you get the impression that somewhere else down the end of the road, the other end of the road, there's like some lunatic asylum or just some funny characters walking down our road. I think
you call them old people's home.
Well, anyway, going down the road, and I see these 2 guys at the end of the road just standing outside Tesco, and they look slightly menacing, but it's all good. It's all good. We're all civilized human beings, aren't we? And they're quite loud though, and as I get closer, I can kind of hear. Well, one of them was saying, "I'm gonna fucking pummel his head, man," and the other one was like, "Yes, mate, you've got to do that. You've got to batter him." And I'm just like, So I'm kind of like, right, but I've got to go past him to get into the shop. So casually go to walk around them, and they start kind of moving towards my direction. And I'm thinking, oh Jesus Christ, it's going down. And I didn't want to have to open a can of whoop-ass, but if need be, it would have happened. But I managed to skirt past them really quick and get into the shop. And it's like, whew, okay, right, good. So I'm in the shop, and I'm like, right, let's go for the Haribo. So I'm going to the aisle, and you wouldn't believe it.
I swear, if this is just a story about you getting Haribos, I'm going to be severely disappointed.
Mate, it's not. I'm telling you, this is the crime. No Haribo. So I'm like, excuse me, mate. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, where's the Haribo? He's like, and he looks, and he's like, I think we stopped selling him. I was like, are you kidding me? Who the hell stopped selling? Right, okay, so this isn't bad enough.
Which Haribos are we talking about?
It was the Star Mix, yeah. With the cola bottles and Friday. So I was devastated because I'd almost died. And now they didn't have Haribo, which is the prime reason I went. So I was like, right, okay, it's fine. I'll make do. They had a bag of Malwams. So I was like, oh, you got Malwams there, that's fine. And he was like, oh, they're reduced to clear. We're not going to be selling them either. I'm like, Jesus Christ. This day couldn't get any worse. So anyway, I grabbed the Malwams. And I think I'll bide my time a little bit because they might be gone by the time I come out.
Starting to see a bit of a something happening, developing here, Ben. You're telling me that one compliment will make your day,
yeah,
for the rest of the day, but not getting your Haribos at the shop will also ruin your day. Are you have you got a bit of an issue with
it wasn't so
little
much
things?
It wasn't so much that I couldn't get my Haribo that day. Is that Tesco's great being at the end of my road, but now they're not ever selling Haribo again. And it's like,
you need to get a co-op near you.
I need to write a strongly worded email, I think. I don't know who
I
took
think
that
you've got better
decision.
things to do, Ben. Look, why didn't you go down there and get an apple?
Anyway, so I think, I'm going to buy my time a little bit because then
are you leveraging the podcast to try and get Haribo's?
Well, yeah, I'm hoping a head honcho at Tesco might be
highly
listening.
doubt that even that many people listen to our podcast from the UK, let alone have a Tesco's near them.
Well, I will send them a link.
And they're just going to look over all the podcasts you talking about shitting yourself. But they're just going to go ahead and just think like, look, this geezer's a bit odd. He's probably got some issues. Let's just send him some free Haribos.
Well, I mean, that's a win.
Right. So you'd be happy to be painted as a bit of a Dumbo in order to get like...
Well, if I get my free Haribo, why not?
All right, well, I'm not really that surprised with the answer. I don't know why I asked it in the first place.
Okay.
But anyway, we haven't really done an intro yet. I just want to say thank you.
I haven't finished my story, Josh.
Yeah, for God's sake. Ben, I want to thank people for saying donkey and whatever the other word was.
That comes later, Josh. That comes later. We'll do that later.
Yeah. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. We need to talk about that.
So I'm trying to buy some time. So these guys might go away. So I go around to another aisle and I see like a bag.
Yeah, I'm trying to buy some time.
I see a bag of Frazzles. Do you know what Frazzles are? Or?
No.
They're like bacon flavored crisps. I know you're not into bacon because you're a pescatarian. And anyway, so I'm like, ooh, I could get some of that. I was like, look, if I get stabbed on the way out of this shop, I don't want to be written in the paper. He was only going to Tesco for a bag of Haribos and some Frazzles because I thought they're going to just write me off as a fat bastard. So I ended up only getting not even the Haribos, the Malwams. And surely enough, they were gone. So basically, short story, could have died, didn't. There you go.
Well, another unfortunate day.
Yeah. So any near-death experiences for you at all? Or?
Near-death experiences.
I mean, I think you'd know. I don't think you'd have to about it.
I feel like every time I get in an Uber, it's a near-death experience.
Do you find, I think, like, especially in New York, compared to taxi drivers, Uber drivers are quite safe.
But I think people underestimate just how weird it is. Now, one thing I was noticing, actually, was that I got in a taxi the other day, and it's the first time I actually got a taxi in a long time. And I got in that taxi, and the first thing I realised is there's a flipping bulletproof glass window in front of me and the driver.
Wow.
And something that I've noticed in life as a constant is things only happen if the bad thing that it's protecting itself from has already happened. Like, there's only a law against killing people and murder because people have been murdered. Now, I was sitting there and I'm thinking, there is glass in between me and this cab driver because someone's probably leaned over and stabbed this fella in the neck, and I was, or vice versa. You know, the driver stabbed the person in the back. I don't know.
But if the driver had stabbed the person, why would he put glass up? Because then he wouldn't be able to do it again.
But he didn't put his own glass up, Ben. All right.
Okay. Sorry,
so the thing is like, and then I realised I'm getting in an Uber, and I'm basically skirting past this guy when I get in. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, this guy could just drive me off to a flipping industrial site, you know, somewhere else in New York, and have his way with me.
But equally, you just need to lock the back doors, and then there's bulletproof glass there, and he won't be able to get in.
I'm talking about Ubers, Ben.
Oh, yeah, you're screwed.
You see,
if it's Uber, you're screwed.
Literally, and you know.
You're screwed.
So whatever. Where was I talking about? Yeah. So anyway, so that's what I'm saying. Is like that's probably my near-death experience. Another thing, near-death experience is my thoughts on America. Ooh. Turning right on a red light is one of the most dangerous things in the world.
Yeah, that is weird. Why would they make that a thing?
It's so odd walking across a crossing and generally having to look for cars. Like what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I always find they kind of nudge towards you as well. Like, oh, come on, I'm gonna fucking go.
Yeah, and they push in. Yeah, and another thing I noticed is it's terrible being blind in America because, like, I was walking down
are you blind when you're in America then?
No, but what if I did become blind? Now the thing is I was walking down a sidewalk or whatever. I'm getting confused which country calls it which. the side of the road, and the sidewalk is a mess. And I was thinking about I could trip on this with sight, let alone without sight. And what happens if I trip on that and fall into the road? And they haven't got any knobbly things in America, you know?
Are they not?
You know what the crossings? There's knobbly things on the road, just like there's knobbly things in writing, so you can read stuff. They haven't got that, Josh. So. I don't know. There's plenty of things I can go on about the near-death experiences. I mean, every time I order flipping takeaway in the evening, which is every night, you never know if someone...
you always run. I think we learned from one of the other episodes that is a very risky move. You really roll the dice on that one.
Yeah, especially when you order Thai food, which is something that is interesting because you don't really get Thai food in England.
No.
The way anyone is interested, England is infamous for Chinese food and Indian food. Now,
true.
And pizza, you can't really call it in Italian. And in New York, it's all about, depending where you are, Japanese, Thai food, and a few like Mexican food, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I said I had Chinese food to someone in America the other day, and they went, Chinese food?
Really?
Yeah, they just don't really have it. And a fun fact of the day is a lot of the Japanese restaurants are actually in New York at least are run by Chinese people.
That is strange.
Anyway, near-death experiences. Look, can we just make a comment? Like, we're already 20 minutes into this. I'll comment. What were the key words we said last week?
The key words?
Can you start that conversation? Basically, like last week not keywords. Last week we said if you listened later into the podcast, we gave you guys a code word in chat and we'd shout out some people. Ben, who are the people?
Well, there was two. In the podcast, there was carpets. And I believe on your Instagram, you asked people to come here and comment donkey.
Yeah, but donkey was separate. Donkeys, that's... So if you guys want to hit those code words, then you got to hit my social medias. Ben hasn't been keeping up with it because no one follows Ben, so he wouldn't be able to get anyone to say it. But the podcast one,
I feel now's probably a good chance to say go follow me, guys.
No,
go in the description. Go to my socials. A few of you have, maybe 2 or 3, and it's been great to talk to you. So
Ben,
I actually make time.
Ben, shout out the people who said it in the podcast.
I will, but I just want. Josh doesn't make time for people. Benjamin Yu said carpets. I'm going to throw a donkey in there. Matthew Lightbody said donkey in capitals with an exclamation mark. So
there will be another code word at the end of the podcast that you might want to get a shout out. Also, another thing we didn't say at the beginning of the podcast, which we should have.
What's that?
SoundCloud.
Ooh, yes. So
we are now on SoundCloud.
Basically, we had some viewers leave comments asking why is this not on SoundCloud, and I didn't think about putting it out there, but we decided let's do it. So we've done it, and you're welcome. Link
SoundCloud is going to be the top link.
Yeah, it's in the description. So make sure you go listen to us on SoundCloud. Because I think, can you download it on I don't think you can.
I have a feeling
I can make it downloadable. So if it's not already, I will make it downloadable. Cool. So yeah, go join us on SoundCloud and like us on iTunes as well, as you know. Let's check some more. We've got Lily said donkey. Marianne said carpets. Stoner music, carpets. Just loads of different people. Luca Helia said donkey. So.
And next time, next code word, which will be at the end of this podcast, or will it, will be shout outs at the beginning of the video before Ben gets into his story.
Hey, that was an intense story. It needed to be told, man.
All right. Where are we segueing? Have you got any more near-death experiences?
I kind of do. I want to get your view on this because I tell this story a lot, and Amber absolutely hates. Amber's very much like Josh. I should probably point out Amber, my girlfriend. She's very much like Josh. She has no fun in life. So I'm going to throw this out. This is an experience. I used to photograph a band on tour a lot, and I don't know if you guys remember, there was a terrorist attack back in Paris at a venue called the Bataclan. It was a band called the Eagles Death Metal, and 3 absolute a-holes.
Just to clarify what Ben's doing, Ben was it's oddly similar to now, but he was following around more successful people.
Yeah I mean, that's just kind of my thing. I'm pretty good at it. So basically, the Eagles Death Metal were doing the show in Paris. These 3 a-holes walked in and started shooting everyone. I didn't know at the time, but the band I was photographing...
Not the same a-holes we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, that do get shit done. Like the bad type of a-hole.
Yeah, exactly. A bad a-hole. But yeah, the band I was photographing had been asked to play that show, and because it was the first night of the tour, I would have been at the back of the venue because I never get involved. I would stand at the back and enjoy the show. So I would have been at the back when they came in and shot everyone up, and probably wouldn't be here doing this today.
Ben, you're like the dad who took their kid to the concert and sits at the back with all the other parents.
Oh, big time, man! I hate getting in the because it's all stuffy.
You're old enough.
Most people have BO when you're in there. Thanks. Most people have BO when they're in. It's just not nice to be stuck in the crowd. I'm quite short as well, so I can't see over people. So I just stand at the back.
I can imagine you get bad BO.
Oh man, believe it or not, I completely agree with you, but I don't. I actually stay. You
kind of look like someone that get bad BO. Something to do with beards and BO. I don't know.
Oh no, man! I take good care. I actually moisturize my beard. It smells immaculate. I'm telling you.
So you don't walk around with leftovers in your on your beard.
No. Because I'm always with Amber and she always brushes them out for me. It's mainly pastry from sausage rolls that is the issue, but it's flaky stuff. What are you gonna do?
Do you not find that it's a bit pulley on your chin?
Pulley on my chin? Well, if someone pulls on it, then sure.
Well, when I've got a bit of a stubble going on, it kind of feels like it's...
This is Josh pretending he can grow facial hair.
I can grow facial hair. It kind of feels like it's like hanging off me.
I remember when you used to attempt to grow a little goatee.
That was 3 years ago.
It was so funny.
And I wasn't a goatee. That was 2 separate goatees on either side of my chin.
Oh, okay, got you. But no, I can't say I find it pulley. No.
Anyway, sorry. Near-death experiences.
Yeah, so I just, so I wanted to go back to that because every time I tell that story, because it amazed me. I think it's shit. If they had accepted that gig, there's a huge likelihood I would have been there and could have been killed quite easily. Yeah. And that blows my mind.
You're a big target as well.
Well, thank you. I mean, again, pretty rude, but it's Josh. What do you expect? So I just want to go.
You're not. Are you a small target? I'm a big target.
I'm quite short. I mean, yeah, you're quite stocky, I guess.
Well, Ben.
I mean, not all of us can afford to have a gym in our building, can we? Let's just say that, shall we? Or 2 swimming pools. I mean, that'd be nice. But I digress. Anyway, this is so hard to get to the point of this whole
Crimea River band. Jesus Christ.
So the question,
not like you go to it anyway,
and that's true. I'd go to the roof pool. That'd be amazing. I'd just go chill. But do you buy into the whole? Yeah, but I wasn't there, so what's the big deal?
The thing, my issue with that is I feel like you could do that with everything. Yours is just a bit more obvious. If I could decide that I wanted to go to any place that had a terrorist attack,
Yeah, but yeah,
I just didn't.
I don't know. I think you're clutching at straws a little bit. I think it's like, I could have gone to Barcelona yesterday, but I didn't. Whereas this was like, there's a high likelihood I would have been there. It's a bit different.
But you weren't.
That's true. It's true.
And is there any way that you can compare? Like, can you compare the fact that I didn't take a holiday to Barcelona that week to? Can you compare that directly to? I didn't go to a concert. Like,
yeah,
the chance, I don't think there was more or less of a chance either one happened.
I disagree, because like, say for example, your sister was going to Barcelona and there was a high likelihood she was going to invite you to go with her, and you were supposed to go, but you didn't in the end. Then it would compare. Whereas the difference is,
the world doesn't work like that. The probabilities don't change. That's like saying, I rolled a 4 on a dice twice in a row, so that means I've got a good chance of rolling a 4 again. The chances are reset every time. So you can't, just because the build up was there doesn't mean that your chances of being there were more or less. Everyone has an equal chance to be there depending on what happens. There's no, like, I don't know, it's hard to say because there's no real measurable way of like estimating it.
Got you.
Like the whether you were there or not, and you ended up not being there in the same way that I ended up not being there. There's just as likely as a chance that I could have met someone, decided I was going, all in that day.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think I don't know why, but I get kind of wowed by things like that. Like I just love. I'm a big fan of like the butterfly effect, stuff like that. But
you're not taking into account every time you walk out, and you could be like saying someone got hit by a car across town today. Mm-hmm. That's crazy because I walked across a road today. I could have got hit by a car.
But I wouldn't say it's exactly the same.
But you did the exact same thing another person did, and they got hit by a car. Does that make sense? Like, your chances don't change. You wouldn't have had more or less of a chance of getting hit by a car when you're there, as in when you're somewhere else. Like, I don't know. It's like a bigger topic. Like, the way things work. At the end of the day, just because the way I see it is, unless you're like there and you somehow didn't get killed because of something you did, then that's a different story. But whether you're there or not is a whole different factor.
True.
It's more basically about you did or you didn't go.
Kinda.
If you didn't go, you're in the same camp as everyone else that didn't go.
I think there's a slight grey area there that you're ignoring, but it is what it is.
I think the grey area is something that people like to think of, but it's more of a thing that we create in our heads. Like, in the same way that, for example, numbers are something we create in our head. There's no such thing as numbers in before humans came around. For example, it goes too deep. But if you think about it, numbers don't exist because there's nothing that is the same as another thing, so you can't count. For example, you can't an orange and an orange at like a biological level, they're not the same thing. We just, in our human minds, we like to go, that's 2 oranges. It just goes too far to the point where it's just not worth talking about. Like, the same thing about us saying, we could have been there. That's like a very human thing to do. To like think, I could have been there at that time.
I feel like the guy in that film Scanners whose head just explodes.
Yeah, but it's kind of one of those weird topics that is like, we're not really smart enough to comprehend that. So
okay, we'll leave that one behind then.
I mean, maybe we could talk about it again. It's just, I need to have a think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd also definitely not this episode, but another episode. I'd definitely love to discuss the butterfly effect. Like I said, I think it's fascinating. Like, I'm not going to go into it, but how obviously we ended up working together is all part of the butterfly effect. I think it's great. I think it's it'd be interesting to look into things that did come about as everything came about as a result of a butterfly effect.
I think at the end of the day, if you accept that it's like not really a real thing, then it's fun to talk about.
Well, it is a thing,
you know. But everything is a butterfly effect.
Yeah, everything is, yeah.
Therefore, nothing is.
Oh, deep.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
So, it's hard to... If everything is something, then everything is also not something. It's just... the fact that you're alive is a part of the butterfly effect.
Is this becoming a very highbrow podcast now? Is this what's happening? We're becoming quite intellectual.
See, this is the thing. One week we're talking about flipping dumbass YouTubers.
YouTubers, drama and stuff, yeah.
And then the next minute we're talking about flipping reasons why you exist.
That's philosophical debates.
Moving on.
Well, that's why we are accessible by everyone. We're just that kind of podcast. So one thing I did want to ask you is, the whole back and forth going on between the American president Trump and the Korean nutter Kim Jong-un, the North Korean nutter. Sorry, I shouldn't say Korean. North Korean nutter.
Well, I mean, it's their opinion that he's a nutter.
Yeah, that's definitely my opinion. I think a lot of people would agree with me, but that's besides the point.
Just because a lot of people agree with you doesn't mean it's right or wrong, Ben.
But is anyone real? I mean, that's the question. Anyway, so they're obviously having a forth with each other. Like, I'm going to blow you up. No, if you try and blow us up, we're going to flatten you, type of thing. My question was, with all this beef that's going on over Twitter, which is, I find surreal to say in real big boy shit, talking about war and stuff, that they're actually having bants on Twitter about it. My question is, if you were the president of the United States, would you be having this sort of banter with Kim Jong-un on Twitter, a bit of drum? Would you do a diss track or roast, or would you be like, look, mate, let's calm it down. Let's talk off Twitter and, just sort stuff out.
What, slide into the DMs?
Yeah, slide into the DM. What would you do? Would you go full on war like Trump is on Twitter?
I don't really know, to be honest. I don't ever want to lead a country, to be honest.
Do you think you would be as good as Trump, or worse, or better?
The thing is my opinion on this is one of those. I need to ease into talking about this sort of stuff on the podcast, but because I don't quite know where my opinion is. It's like I'm always in two minds. There's half of me that's like, all right, what's my opinion for my team? My team being like where I live, who the people I surround myself, what's best for my team. The other half of me is like humanity as a whole.
Yeah.
Which is just a bit, off of it. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like humanity as a whole side. I, for example, fully believe that the president of the United States doesn't even have that much power.
Interesting. What do you think the people behind him do and stuff?
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I mean, the whole president thing has as much. It doesn't. It's very much a public position.
Oh, great,
and you don't.
Spokesperson type.
Yeah, you don't. You don't. Most people don't understand that a lot of the actual things that happen in the world are done by the people you don't see. Like by a long shot, and it's usually the hard decisions are made by the people you never see. That's the kind of the point, and so it's hard to really say would you do things like this, because I don't really think I think that, for example, the president that's in at the moment is doing a hell of a lot more than maybe a lot of other presidents have done, but because they're doing more, that's like quite shocking.
Well, there's that, but there's mixed with the fact that he's a moron.
But I mean, that's just an opinion. It's hard to.
Well, I mean, it is. It's not. I mean,
but every president has made dumb decisions. It's all marketing.
Like the one thing I thought about Obama, for example, regardless of any of, because I'm not big into politics, regardless of any of the stuff he did in power, because it's not my country. I don't really pay much attention to it. But he had class about him. You know what I mean? He had an air of class.
But that's what I just told you. It's all marketing, Ben. And now you're telling me that you liked him because of class.
Oh,
he's very charismatic.
As a leader of a country, you should have a bit of class and hold back and not go blurting out whatever comes to your mind on Twitter. Do you know what I mean?
That's your opinion.
But
a lot of people like the fact. Well, it's just taste. They're not.
I think it's probably because Trump's such a break from the norm. Do you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, it's shocking to people, and some people like the change. But the thing is that a lot of it's the one of the worst things about it is it's the thing is with the president, for example, right now, the big things that they're talking about don't seem to be doing much. It's the thing that's screwing a lot of people over are the small decisions that the president are making that you don't realize, like immigration, stuff like that. Like, is one of those smaller things was a smaller thing, and it wasn't really pushed by a lot of presidents in the past, which meant that there was a lot more power available to the president in terms of immigration, which meant that he's managed to do a lot of damage or good stuff, depending on what team you're on, I guess, or what your opinion is, because of that. Because it's a relatively small thing, letting people it's odd that the president, I guess, of the United States, if we're talking about like this, one of the main things that they're dealing with is people coming in and out of the country.
Yeah.
You'd think now that's one of the main selling points of the president.
Yeah.
So you got to realize how much more goes on in the whole world if the president's focus is on immigration and stuff like that, someone else is getting a whole lot of work done elsewhere.
Yeah, true.
But the thing is immigration right now is it's very much in the public limelight. So it looks like that's a big, the president's doing a lot.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things. It sucks, I think. I mean, personally, I'm one of the believers that immigration is like perfectly fine. I don't see a difference between a person in one country and a person in another country.
Right.
Especially in a country like America, which is, founded on immigration. I find the whole concept of not allowing one human being in and allowing a different human being in very silly. And that's why I personally would love everyone just to work together. It seems so silly to me that the people are like segregated because of where you're born. It's like the dumbest thing.
I always find that the people who really care about immigration the most tend to be kind of xenophobes. People who, do the whole, they shouldn't come into our country because they're taking a job that I could be having. And I'm thinking, well, if you were better than them or you worked as hard as them, you would get the job over there.
It's all team play, though. It's all like that's the case. It's like the person's only taking the job because they can do the job better.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really simple as that, and their lifestyle is more suited to that or something like that. Yeah. And at the end of the day, but it's all team tactics. It's all very like prehistoric thoughts. It's like, oh, I want to support my team and make my team stronger type thing. It's all that. It's people scared of protecting their team, and I've never been a team player.
That's interesting you should say that because we obviously recently had the UK election over here, the general election over in the UK, and this is the first time I've ever actually really got involved because politics are just I can't be bothered with it. But this time I had this team option. I could go for one party that would benefit me more, considering what I earn, or I could go for the other party that would actually damage me, but as for humanity and this country would do better. And I ended up going for that because. You should. You never know, just because you're in a good position now, you might not be in a good position next year, and then you might need the help as well. It's the right thing to do anyway. You shouldn't pick yourself over humanity. I know it sounds very hippie-esque, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird line. It's silly to me. I'm not patriotic. It's just there at all, and it's just I don't see why I should be favored over someone else. I think that we should just strive to make everything as like is fair as possible. I'm not all about equal because I feel like we should be balanced on what we do. We should have a basic structure for success and failure, and like people who work hard and do well and get lucky as well at the same time because part of society
of course,
can do better. I don't feel like the best thing to do is have equal all around because that never works. And it's never sustainable, and people it's not in our human structure to be equal to each other. You always have one person that wants more than the other, and that's just how we have to accept it. So you just give the groundwork for a system like that and just leave it and just respect each other a bit if possible.
This is actually I don't want to get too in depth into why I'm asking this, but recently, I'm trying to say how to say it without giving anything away, but basically, we were kind of told by a friend that our lives are completely different. We value money and a big house and stuff over friends and family. Because obviously, as you know, the job we do takes up a lot of time, and they were saying they don't value that in life, and they would rather have this and that. I'm thinking, is there, in my mind, there's nothing wrong with not valuing money, but wanting to do well, and if that means grafting really hard, and because of that having less time for friends, is that a bad thing? I mean, friends as a concept is a very odd thing. It's most people don't like their friends. It's friends are a safety blanket for loneliness most of the time. And the thing is we live in a world where money is our point system. So why not work hard to get more points? That's why do you think we play games that have winners and losers and points and leaderboards? That's how we're built up. So we may as well play the game of life as well. Otherwise, and that in the way it's worked right now, we'll enjoy ourselves better. Yeah. And it will have something to show for ourselves. That's the thing.
Just sat around.
I think if you're not because a lot of people are not driven by money, and they don't care if they're happy to make us.
But that's cool. That's cool.
I think that's great, and I like think I kind of respect that and love the romanticism behind that. I really love the thought of I really don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna have a nice life, and that's great. But equally, I don't think we should be made to feel bad for wanting to better our situation, because like for example, me and Amber, we work very hard, but we're doing that to build a future for when we have a kid, or we want to have a nice life later in life, and we know YouTube's around now. Who knows how long it'll be around? So let's hammer it as hard as we can right now. And yet, some people are trying to say, well, you basically you're not going to be friends because you're working too hard. And it's like, well, I don't know. I disagree with it, but maybe that's...
I mean, at the end of the day, something I've noticed is how many people have, like, the retention of friends is very, very, very low.
That's true.
It's hard to say, but, real friends you can just come back to whenever you want.
Well, that was one of my arguments. One of my friends who I've known for years now, he... lives about an hour away, so it's not hard to see him. But he's married now, and he's just had a kid. And it's like, we call each other like once a month, once every other month, and we get on like house. I don't see him often, but that's because I'm busy as hell, and he's busy as hell. I don't care. I don't resent him for having a life of his own and doing well in his business and having a family. But apparently, it rolls people up the wrong way. I don't know if it's jealousy or just because they don't have as much going on in their life as I do. I don't know. I kind of resented the comment though. I thought it was a bit unfair. Hey ho, everyone's different though, I suppose. You value different things. Right, that was getting deep. That was getting too serious for this podcast. I think we need to get on to some questions, man. We had one from Panda the Panda. And they said, can someone count how many times Josh says like? Do you say like a lot?
Probably more than I should. But you know why, Ben? Because I'm a true YouTuber.
That's true.
And that means I want you guys to like this video.
Nice.
People might be listening on SoundCloud like, what are you talking about? It's just how I speak. I'll try and do it less. I'm sorry.
Well, I remember actually years ago, an old Linkin Park DVD, they had a section where the guitarists, they had a like counter in the bottom right. So I think it's quite a common word that people say a lot when they're trying to tell a story.
Wait, really? Why?
I just think like, you see what I mean? You just say like, there you go. I didn't even mean to say that second like, it just came. I just think it's a common thing. Sebastian Sonmark said carpets, first of all. And then they said, by the way, what is school like in England? I'm from Sweden, and it's not, and it's like not far. He said like as well. It's like not far away from school systems. Is it a lot different? What was your time like in school? Did you enjoy it or?
My time.
Yeah, were you popular?
I mean, I was like more in the individual kind of / popular.
Loner?
I wouldn't say no. I wasn't loner. Oh. I would say that I was good at fitting in. I guess. I was lucky that I was good at rugby, which was a big thing in my school.
I can completely picture you playing rugby.
And it made me have access to all of the good like popular kids. I wouldn't say I was like part of the generic popular crew, but all of those guys I was friends with.
Got you.
But I was also friends with a bunch of unpopular, I guess, stereotypically people. And if anything, sometimes I'd like the unpopular kids more.
I was just thinking then you were like that, like the typical movie American jock who's like the jock, but he's really nice to the underdog as well. But I'm thinking, but you're not nice, so that couldn't have been you.
Well, I was very, I liked individual friends. Right. So I wasn't too a fan of like groups of friends because I didn't like the dynamics. So I made good friends with individual people that I liked or respected.
That's interesting.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And because I played a lot of rugby, and it kind of put me in that kind of like popular kid / not popular group type thing. I would say it was an unusual position. From looking back on other social groups.
Would you have been classed as miscellaneous?
Yeah, very much. And the other thing is that YouTube started picking up around beginning of college. So when I was about to start, when you go to college, it kind of resets your social status a little bit.
College, by the way, college
depends if you. Yeah, it depends if you. College is like high school.
It's not university like in America.
Yeah, it's kind of like the second half of high school. But if you don't come into it with a group of friends, it kind of resets it, puts you at the bottom. If you do come over with friends and that friends create a big group, then you go straight to the top. It's kind of like the cheating path. I usually kind of started at the beginning of that, which made me like quite popular at college.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, it was starting to really pick up, and people started hearing about it, and it started getting really big near the end of it.
That's cool.
So a lot of people knew who I was in college. And the thing is I was very much like very rugby team when I was in my secondary school, so it was I don't know, I had it relatively easy through it. I didn't have a hard time at school whatsoever, which I'm happy with. And I got probably average to high grades. How high sometimes? I mean, it's mostly average to high, I'd say.
Well, there you go. A nice little school story. You very rarely get those.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm trying to remember back. School, when was that? Joking.
Were you still doing music and
to a degree? I was actually I did GCSE music and I got an A in it. That was the only thing I got an A in. But it was all because I went to quite a good school. It was classical music. It wasn't anything cool or anything. I went to the same school as Hugh Grant. Just throwing out, and Alan Rickman. So, my alumni. But no, I wasn't a big fan of school. Even though I look back at it now, actually quite fondly. At the time, I hated it. Absolutely hated it.
So, what were you popularity wise?
Not overly popular, but I wasn't one of the bullied ones. I was just kind of like floating around. It was kind of one of those ones where, like, for example, you go down a hallway and you see like the bullies really like leathering, so not physically, but really laying into someone, and like you could float past absolutely fine. But if they happen to just catch you in the peripheral, they'll have a little dig at you too as you go by. Do you know what I mean? It was one of those. So. It was all right. I was friends with some popular kids as well. So by association, you don't necessarily get too hard a go. But a school itself was just like I say, I've never liked working for people outside of schools. I like being self-employed. Same with school. I didn't like the whole being told what to do and stuff. And plus, I was also under a microscope because my brother went to school 4 years. He was a 4 years difference. He went before me, and he was like straight A student. Like he got ridiculous grades. So all the teachers who previously taught him were expecting me to be like incredible. Whereas my report always said I was the class clown. So like I never applied myself, and I just had fun and.
Second child syndrome.
Oh yeah, big time. I that's the thing. Like my brother has always been massive. He's a teacher now. He's always been a massive academic, and I'm just completely different, man. I like having a fun time and just being social. We're very different in that respect, but So I had fun times at school because of the social side, but then on the education side, I hated it. But it is what it is. Right, next question. We got KR Fool said, "I know this is an odd question, but I've always wondered what kind of carpets," see what he did there? He slipped it in. Carpets Josh has in his house. Also, I like guests, but also want it to always be both of you. I've one can vouch that Josh has very nice carpets in his house. I've seen them. I've touched them. They're soft. They're nice.
I have. So the whole bottom floor of my house is like a wood, basically.
Yeah.
Like this, like
it's
kind of like not
room,
real wood.
It's a living room wood as well.
The whole bottom floor is wood.
Wow, how did I not notice that? Well, there you go.
And it's all one wood. It's quite nice. It's like constant all the way through. It makes it feel open planned.
Oh, nice.
And then upstairs and the staircase is
love your staircase.
Carpets.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
And we did ask what people thought about guests. That's what I noticed in the comments last week. Actually, like people weren't as bothered about guests as I thought they would be. Like they like it. But
it's hard. They're one of those things you can't really force them in. You need them to be. Yeah. You need them to have like some sort of like when we got Geordie in, it made sense because we were talking about YouTubers and stuff. Yeah. So if we can keep that up, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe not have two in a row, but don't necessarily stick to two every 2 weeks type thing.
Got you. Okay.
I think is a good place. I don't know what you guys think. Whoa! What's that, Ben? Can you hear the sound? Wow! The code word this week is light bulbs.
Light bulbs. Why is it always plural?
I don't know. It's a good. I mean, it could be light bulb. I think it's light bulb.
Let's go with light bulb.
I said
plural.
it. That's the first one I said, so I had to stick with it.
We'll go with plural.
So that's the code word. If you guys want to shout at the beginning of the podcast next week, then make sure to put that in the comments or anywhere else. Extra points if you do it on SoundCloud.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, but that means I have to remember to look at SoundCloud. Okay, I'll do that. You make it more work for me.
Ben has to remember to do something.
Yeah, okay. Right. Oh my God, I'm going to say this name wrong. Crezo Mirko. I'm going to say it like that. I'm sorry if I get it wrong. Carpets with exclamation mark to start with. But he doesn't need a shout out. Tough, you've already had one. What countries have you guys visited? How was it? And which would you like to visit except the USA and Great Britain?
Oh, I visited way too many countries.
Have you?
Yeah,
Are you,
like,
are you a bit of a travelled slut?
I did have on my other because I got two phones. I on my other phone I do
Two-phone
have
wanker.
all right. On my other phone I do have a list of all the countries, like a map of them. There's an app where you can.
I need to stop you quickly. Amber did bring this up the other day that you're a two-phone wanker, and are we talking? You've got your British phone and your American phone.
Yes.
Or have you? Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, hold on, are we only on one of his phones? But it turns out I've got both. Carry on.
You know you have both.
Yeah, but I didn't know if you had a second British one. That was because I remember she told me
I
that
do have two British ones, but that's because I'm phasing out my old number.
Oh, okay. Because she said you had one which was non-work related, and I was like, well, we're supposed to be friends. Am I not on that phone? What's going on?
I wouldn't tell you even if I did.
Okay, that's fair. Carry on.
Yeah, so I think it's somewhere in the 30 to 40 region.
Jesus, you get around.
I think it's 30. Yeah.
Well, what's like if you had to
some weird ones?
Well, I was going to say knife to your throat if you had to pick a favourite one that's not USA or Great Britain. What would it be?
Norway is one of my favorites. I said that.
Oh yeah,
before.
you said that. Yeah. I really need to go check this place. You really love Norway. I need to go check it out.
I don't. I'm not a big like. My parents went to a lot of like. I went with my family to a lot of like places like Turkey, Bulgaria, Greece. I'm not really a huge fan of those like generic places. They kind of always are a bit. Maybe it's because I've gone too touristy to them.
Sure.
But I've never been a big fan of those. But I've been there.
I'm trying to think which one's my favorite.
It's always the older ones that I've enjoyed the most. Like Switzerland was nice.
Oh, I've never been there. That sounds nice. I quite like Austria when I went there. That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ever been to Austria? Or?
I don't think I have. I've been to Germany more times than I can count. But
fair. Which one would you like to visit that you haven't visited? Is there anywhere you haven't been that you want to go?
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. Actually, there was one place. I'm a big sucker for like ancient history. So I love like places that seem like have held together, and there's a few places north of Greece that have a lot of old Greek and Roman places, but they're very untouched by tourism because they're rather unknown. And I forgot the names. They got dumb long names because they're not very touristy places. But I'd love to go to some places that have actually still got some.
That sounds cool.
Cool ancient history, and not like places like Rome, which have been rebuilt 100 times and are overrated and been gone through wars and stuff. It's just those places are a bit. I guess they're nice to see once, but you know.
That's nice. Personally, for me, I would probably say I think I went as a real small kid, so I can't remember it. So I'm going to class it like I've never been. But I think I'd always like to go to Portugal. It just looks really nice.
Yeah, I've been to Portugal.
Is it nice?
Spain light.
It's like Spain.
Yeah, Spain light. Spain LITE. I mean.
Sorry. Right.
I mean, when I went, I've been to Spain, like 3 or 4 places in Spain, and they've all been touristy places, and I went to a touristy place in Portugal. This is what I mean. I hopefully soon I'm going to be going to some more non-touristy Spanish places. I know I am going to one in the near future. I've obviously been to like Marbella, which is a bit less touristy, but it's still decently touristy.
Yeah.
But then I've obviously been to all the other touristy places like Barcelona and stuff like that. Yeah, no, I've been to Portugal. I can't remember where I went in Portugal, but it was a touristy place and just felt the same. I do respect that they are two very different countries, and they have been for a long time. It's just I would lump together a lot of countries in Europe anyway. It's not just Spain and Portugal, just because they're next to each other.
Oh yeah. I that's the thing. Whenever you say like Spain touristy, you always think of like the real Brit abroad type people, the sunburnt British people who just have no class about, and it sounds horrendous. So I'm totally with you on that. I would much rather go to an untouched place that's just you can actually really soak in the culture that's real and not tourist culture.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. The Gaming Beaver. Not really a question. They just said Ben is cool, so chuck that in there.
I've got to really figure out how we can get these questions a bit better rather than you chucking in these appreciation comments.
Well, I mean, it's
gonna have to check the list of these first.
Fair comment, really, wasn't it? And Brian, oh my god, he's asked a question before, and he did say how you pronounce it. I want to say shots or sorry, man, I know I've got it wrong. But how do you choose what to use as the background animation on the podcasts? That's a good question, Josh. You're really mainly the guy who kind of comes up with them, really.
Yeah, it's sometimes they're thought it out, but sometimes they're not. It's just kind of what works to be honest. Like, what's good at the time? I mean, they're more just like basic eye candy. There's not there. I mean, it's probably overkill that we're doing them anyway.
I mean, obviously it doubles up as the theme to what we've talked about.
Yeah.
But and then we just hand it to our designer guy. He draws them up. I animate them. We're good to go. It usually works. Last week, I don't have a clue how that related to anything we talked about, but the animation was really cool, so it was fine.
We did struggle a little bit on that one.
Ben, if you blew up on YouTube today, would you stop editing for other people? Ooh.
Oh, yeah, of course you would, Ben.
No, of course I wouldn't.
What? You would. If you blew up on YouTube, you would.
Do you think?
You're a star fucker, aren't you?
No, but I'm talking about like financials here. I wouldn't want to. I'm used to a certain lifestyle now. I wouldn't want to risk that. Just because you blow up one day doesn't mean you're going to stay relevant.
Well, it depends how blow up you like. What define blow up, I guess.
That's true. I think personally, if I blew up, I don't know. It depends how big blow up is. Like if it was big, yeah, I probably would. But if it was, so I was making a bit of money on it. It was good. I'd probably still do what I do, but I'd probably get more.
You would prioritize.
I'd probably get more people involved, so it would lessen the workload.
Yeah.
So it not lessen the workload, but it made so like, for example, like we said it before, with Josh's job and our job, like if we want to go on holiday, it's very hard to go on holiday. You don't really get holidays. So if I could get other people on board, I could go on holiday if I wanted to. Do you know what I mean? Without even having to worry about that. That would be my only change, really, just to be able to take a few days off, because it's so, as you know, Josh, it's so hard to do that with what we do.
It's an opposition for editors, because the thing is that they are never in a position of power.
It's true.
That's the truth of it.
And
the hard thing is that for editors, there's always like 10 people that would take that position.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like tough, and that's why it usually relies on like the editors like keeping up a good relationship with the YouTuber, because some YouTubers can be more cutthroat than others in terms of ditching you.
Very true. Amber and I were talking about what happens if the day comes when YouTube collapses. We've managed to go pretty much a whole episode without talking about YouTube, but here we are. Anyway, what happens when the day comes, eventually one day, 10 years from now, 5 years now, whenever, when the jobs are not there anymore? And honestly, we both said that, whether or not Josh is into this or not, we always said that we could see ourselves doing something else with Josh, like just a different business completely or whatever. I think we work well together. I don't know your views on it. You're probably not going to like that, but that's what we always said. We think we could see ourselves doing more with you if you were into the idea. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all based on things to do, I guess, at the end of the day.
Of course, yeah. I just think I
might keep Amber around at the very least.
Yeah, of course, yeah. She can look after me. God, I'm making myself sound 70. I didn't mean it like that. I just meant financially.
Put you in a home.
Maybe. Okay, cool. I think we've reached that time. I think it's good to go. So remember, guys, definitely check out the SoundCloud. It'll be top link in the description. If you prefer iTunes, it's on there as well. Drop comments down below if you're on YouTube, asking us questions for next week's podcast. And of course, you can hit us up on Twitter as well. Links are down there too. Wow, I think I covered everything there. That was pretty professional.
Good work, Ben.
Thanks, man.
Did a lot better on the outro than you did the intro.
I stand by that intro. I'm telling you. Anyway, right. Let's go. Josh, say goodbye to the people.
Bye to the people.
Bye.